Welcome back to Body Count on Quaver TV, where we dive into the deadliest corners of fiction and tally up the victims. Today, we're venturing into the enchanted forest of fairy tales, but be warned, dear viewers, these aren't the sanitized Disney versions you grew up with. We're going back to the roots, to the blood-soaked soil where these stories first grew. That's right, we're talking about the original Grimm's fairy tales and other surprisingly morbid folklores that might just give you nightmares. So grab your favorite teddy bear for comfort, because things are about to get grim, or should I say, grim. Let's start with the masters of macabre themselves, the brothers Grimm. Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm weren't trying to write bedtime stories for children. They were linguists and cultural researchers, collecting and preserving German folklore. And boy, did they preserve some dark stuff. Their first edition, published in 1812, was so shocking that parents refused to buy it for their kids. But don't worry, they toned it down in later editions, a little. Now, let's dive into some of these tales and start our body count. Brace yourselves, because it's going to be a bumpy ride through the dark forest of folklore. Let's begin with a classic, Snow White. You might remember it as a sweet tale about a princess and 7 dwarfs. But in the Grimm version, it's a story of attempted murder, slavery, and cruel and unusual punishment. The evil queen doesn't just try to kill Snow White once, oh no. She makes 3 attempts on the poor girl's life. First with a murderously tight corset, then with a poisoned comb, and finally with the famous poisoned apple. But here's where it gets really dark. At Snow White's wedding to the prince, the evil queen is forced to dance in red-hot iron shoes until she drops dead. Talk about a killer dance move. Body count, 1 evil queen, barbecued. Moving on to Cinderella, another tale you might think you know. In the Grimm version, the stepsisters don't just try on the glass slipper. Oh no, they mutilate their own feet to try to fit into it. One cuts off her toes, the other slices off her heel. And their punishment for this deception: birds peck out their eyes at Cinderella's wedding. I guess they really should have kept their eyes on the prize. Body count, 2 stepsisters, if you count being blinded as a metaphorical death. Let's talk about Rumpelstiltskin. You might remember him as the impish little man who spins straw into gold. But in the original tale, when his name is guessed and he loses his claim on the queen's child, he gets so angry that he stamps his foot right through the floor and tears himself in half. Yes, you heard that right. He literally rips himself in 2. Talk about throwing a tantrum. Body count, 1 self-destructing imp. Now, let's move on to a lesser-known tale, the juniper tree. This one's a doozy. A stepmother decapitates her stepson, cooks him into a stew, and feeds him to his father. The boy's sister buries his bones under a juniper tree, which then grows and transforms into the boy's spirit. The spirit drops a millstone on the evil stepmother, crushing her to death. The boy then magically returns to life. It's like a fusion of Sweeney Todd and the Lion King, but way more twisted. Body count, 1 evil stepmother, crushed like a bug. In The Robber Bridegroom, a young woman is betrothed to a man who turns out to be the leader of a band of cannibalistic robbers. She witnesses them murder and eat another young woman, escapes, and later exposes her fiancé's crimes at their wedding feast. The robber and his entire band are executed. Body count, 1 young woman eaten, 1 robber bridegroom and his entire band executed. That's a lot of wedding crashers. Let's not forget Hansel and Gretel. 2. Children abandoned in the woods stumble upon a house made of candy, inhabited by a witch who fattens up children to eat them. Gretel ends up shoving the witch into her own oven. Body count, 1 witch, extra crispy. Plus, who knows how many children were eaten before Hansel and Gretel came along. In The Girl Without Hands, a miller accidentally promises his daughter to the devil. To keep her pure and prevent the devil from taking her, he cuts off her hands. Later, her hands magically grow back, but not before a whole lot of suffering. Body count, 0, but I think we can all agree that chopping off your daughter's hands is pretty horrific. Now, let's venture beyond the Grimm brothers and look at some other surprisingly dark fairy tales from around the world. In the Russian folktale Vasilisa the Beautiful, collected by Alexander Afanasyev, a young girl is sent into the forest to borrow fire from Baba Yaga, a supernatural being who lives in a hut that stands on chicken legs. Baba Yaga is known for eating people, particularly children. Vasilisa completes impossible tasks set by Baba Yaga, aided by a magical doll given to her by her dead mother. In the end, Vasilisa escapes with a skull lantern that burns her cruel stepfamily to ashes. Body count: 1 stepmother and 2 stepsisters, reduced to cinders. The Italian tale The Night of the Murder, collected by Italo Calvino, tells of a man who seeks shelter in a seemingly abandoned house. During the night, he witnesses a group of bandits bring in a young woman, kill her, chop her into pieces, and cook her in a pot. The man manages to resurrect the woman using a magic ointment he finds in the house, and together they escape and bring the bandits to justice. Body count: 1 young woman temporarily dead, and a group of bandits executed. In the Norwegian tale East of the Sun and West of the Moon, collected by Peter Christen Asbjornsen and Jorgen Moe, a young woman must save her prince, who has been bewitched into bear form and then stolen away to a castle east of the sun and west of the moon. Along her journey, she encounters trolls who threaten to eat her, and in one version, she must wash bloodstains out of the prince's shirt to break the spell. While the body count is low, the threat of being eaten by trolls adds a delicious layer of horror to this romantic tale. The French tale Bluebeard, recorded by Charles Perrault, is particularly gruesome. A young woman marries a wealthy man with a blue beard, who gives her the keys to every room in his castle but forbids her from entering one specific room. Curiosity gets the better of her, and she enters the room to find the butchered bodies of Bluebeard's previous wives. Bluebeard discovers her disobedience and prepares to kill her, but she's rescued at the last minute by her brothers, who kill Bluebeard. Body count: several previous wives. The exact number varies in different versions, and 1 murderous husband. In the English tale Mr. Fox, collected by Joseph Jacobs, a young woman named Lady Mary is engaged to a mysterious nobleman, Mr. Fox. Curious about his home, she visits his castle and discovers a room full of skeletons and severed limbs of young women. She narrowly escapes, and later exposes Mr. Fox's crimes at a dinner party, leading to his death. Body count: multiple unnamed women, and 1 murderous Mr. Fox. The Danish tale The Red Shoes, by Hans Christian Andersen, tells of a girl whose vanity leads her to acquire a pair of red shoes that force her to dance continuously. Unable to stop, she asks an executioner to cut off her feet. Even then, the severed feet in the red shoes continue to dance before her. The tale ends with the girl finding redemption, but not before some serious body horror. Body count: 2 feet, separated from their owner. In the Scottish tale The Gingerbread Man, well, let's just say things don't end well for our running fast as he can protagonist. After outrunning various pursuers, he's ultimately tricked and eaten by a cunning fox. Body count: 1 sentient baked good, devoured. The Japanese tale of Kachi Kachi Yama, collected in Yae Theodora Ozaki's Japanese fairy tales, is surprisingly violent for its cute animal characters. A rabbit seeks revenge on a tanuki raccoon dog for killing his friend, an old woman. The rabbit tortures the tanuki in various ways, culminating in tricking him into carrying a boat made of mud into a lake, where the boat dissolves and the tanuki drowns. Body count: 1 old woman and 1 tanuki. In the Filipino tale of The Monkey and the Turtle, collected by Dean S. Fansler, what starts as a simple tale of 2 friends planting banana trees turns dark when the monkey cheats the turtle out of his fair share of the harvest. The turtle retaliates by placing sharp shells in the river, which cut the monkey when he jumps in. The monkey then beats the turtle, who retreats into his shell. The monkey throws the turtle into the river to drown him, but of course, turtles can swim. The turtle then bites the monkey in a rather sensitive area, leading to the monkey's death. Body count: 1 monkey, death by turtle bite. The Irish tale of the Children of Lear, recorded by Lady Augusta Gregory, tells of 4 children transformed into swans by their jealous stepmother. They're forced to spend 900 years in swan form before finally returning to human form, only to age rapidly and die. Meanwhile, their stepmother is turned into a demon of the air as punishment. Body count: 4 children, swans, after a very prolonged magical ordeal. Let's not forget The Little Mermaid, and I'm not talking about the Disney version where everyone lives happily ever after. In Hans Christian Andersen's original tale, the mermaid feels like she's walking on sharp knives with every step she takes on her human legs. In the end, the prince marries someone else, and the mermaid is given a choice: kill the prince and live, or die herself. She chooses to sacrifice herself and dissolves into sea foam. Body count: 1 mermaid, dissolve. Now, Let's tally up our grisly score. In just these tales, we've seen multiple cannibals, serial killers, and child murderers. We've witnessed death by burning, crushing, drowning, execution, and even spontaneous self-destruction. We've seen people cooked into stews, forced to dance until they die, and magically transformed for centuries. Our conservative body count, only counting clearly stated deaths, is well over 20, not including the numerous unnamed victims of characters like Bluebeard and Mr. Fox. But the real horror of these fairy tales isn't in the body count. It's in the casual cruelty, the unexpected violence, and the harsh punishments that are doled out so freely. These stories reflect a world where danger lurked around every corner, where life was often short and brutal, and where justice was swift and merciless. So why do we still tell these stories? Why do they endure? Perhaps it's because they speak to something deep and primal within us. They allow us to confront our fears in a safe space, to explore the darkness of the world from the comfort of our homes. They teach harsh lessons about trust, obedience, and the consequences of our actions. Or maybe, just maybe, we're all a little twisted, and part of us enjoys the thrill of these dark tales. After all, you're watching a show called Body Count, so I think it's safe to say we all have a bit of a morbid streak. If you want to support the show and help us keep digging up these dark tales, click on the links in my bio. Every subscriber is another candle in our dark forest of stories, helping to illuminate these grim tales for a new generation. Until next time, keep your wits about you, don't take candy from strangers, especially if they live in houses made of sweets, and remember, sometimes, the most dangerous monsters are the ones hiding in plain sight. This is Quaver TV, reminding you that while fairy tales may not always have happy endings, at least they eventually end. Unlike some of our nightmares after researching this episode. Sweet dreams, everyone.